Good afternoon, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. This is Rich again, back for your second video blog of the day for September 19, 2014, Friday afternoon around 6 p.m. It's nice and sunny, but a little bit chilly. Probably highs reached about 60 today. Some news to report. It's Happy National Act Like a Pirate Day, Talk Like a Pirate Day, and also some other news. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell says a new conduct policy is forthcoming by the NFL after all of these domestic abuse scandals and stuff like that. A new policy is going to be in effect soon. I think this policy should be if there any player who does anything with a domestic abuse case, they should be suspended immediately for 1 year without pay, and after a year they should just let them. The NFL should review the case to see if they got help or stuff, and if they did, they could play another time in the NFL. But if they get caught a second time, they're gone for good. And also, this Flyers captain Claude Giroux is going to miss 2 weeks because of a lower body injury. And LA Dodgers pitcher Clayton Kershaw won his 20th game this year. He's got the National League MVP all sewn up, as well as the NL Cy Young Award. He's going to be the first pitcher since 1968 in the National League to win the Most Valuable Player. The last pitcher to win the Most Valuable Player in the National League was Bob Gibson. And that's about it for the news. My next subject is about the television show, the sports television show, Olberman. Olberman is hosted by Keith Olbermann, who is a famous sports and political commentator and stuff, and his show's on ESPN2 weekdays at 5 p.m. It debuted on August 26th of last year, 2013, on ESPN2 at 11 p.m. and it was on our format for the first year of the show, and the show is set at Times Square Studio, and it shares the same space as ABC News Nightline because ESPN and ABC are owned by Disney. And the show is about insights, analysis, opinions on major sports subjects, but sometimes they go into like pop culture and the current news topics. And this show is similar to Keith Olbermann's Countdown, which was on that Keith hosted on MSNBC and Current TV, but it's mainly about sports. And the show starts with highlights from the day of sports, which is called Keith Lights, and also the segments of this Time Marches On, which used to be the oddball story on the Countdown show on MSNBC and Current TV. It's about a strange sports story. Also, the world's worst sports person in sports. Another thing that was taken from the Countdown show that Keith hosted. And another one he has, X joins up late with Keith Olbermann. It's like a figure from ESPN who worked for the network. It could be Buster Only, who writes for baseball, or an NBA insider, or an NFL insider. They talk about a major issue, what's going on in that sport. And also, it's a pretty good. And also, during the football season, there's a segment called Forget About That taking my fantasy team, that talk about football. And also, on Fridays, they have Bruno Bash. Tony Bruno joins Keith Olbermann. Tony Bruno used to be a host on ESPN Radio. And also there's a feature story, which is the top sports story of the day, which is featured during the Olbermann show. And also he has another segment, Tomorrow in History. And Keith Olbermann's sign-off is I've done all the damage I can do here in New York. Keith Olbermann, ESPN, for such and such. Good night and good luck. That's the same tagline that the late great legendary TV Boston anchor Chet Curtis used, but Chet Curtis didn't use "I done all the damage I can do here." He didn't use that. And the Olbermann show has been real popular for ESPN2. It's garnered major ratings for the first year. It was on the air for 11 p.m. time slot, and they replayed it on like many ESPN2 and ESPN News several times during the overnights and the morning times. Got real popular, and ESPN2 decided that it was moving Keith Olberman's TV show to the afternoons at 5 p.m. and it started September 8th, and it was reduced to a half hour. But the show is outstanding. I watch a lot of the clips on YouTube. He talks a lot of stuff on the subjects, especially all of this NFL domestic cases. He really has a passion that Keith says that Roger Goodell should resign as NFL commissioner. I like these videos he puts out on YouTube, and his program's outstanding. And this is a great show that ESPN2 has. It's like I told you, it's similar to the countdown show that Keith Olbermann had on MSNBC and Current. And the sports world really need this. Is the sports world. This is a great show for the sports world to have with a countdown type show. It's amazing, and it's great that ESPN got Keith Olbermann back last year. It's been outstanding. He hasn't had any trouble with the ESPN after since he was returned, and that's great news, because in the past Keith has been subject to controversy in all the networks he's been at: ESPN, MSNBC, Fox, and Current. But he's been on good behavior so far, so I really enjoyed that. I think the show's going to last several more years, in my opinion, if Keith keeps his behavior up. It's a good show, so I recommend you watch it. And that's about it on that. I will be back tonight for my third and final video blog of the night, which will be about Celtics legend Larry Bird, number 33. We'll talk about him tonight. See you later, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. Bye now.